And I want you guys to answer in the chat as well. I'm gonna take a trip down memory lane, and we're gonna discuss what is the best ever individual season we've ever seen at Tottenham Hotspur. We're hoping to see one next season, or multiple next season, but we've seen so many great individual seasons down the line with Tottenham Hotspur. Who's the best one, do you reckon? There's been so many standouts when you look at Kane and a couple of seasons, a lot of seasons. You can talk about Harry Kane, Sonny, Bale, Berbatov. You know, there are so many that spring to mind. What do you think the actual best one was?
I mean, the one that stands out for sure is obviously Gareth Bale. When we didn't get Champions League that season, we obviously missed out. But he scored 21 goals that year.
Yeah.
Of those 21 goals, I think it was a record for the amount of goals outside the box. We were literally a one-man team that season. We would be stodgy. We would fail to break teams down. We would be struggling through games. And it would be like very on an even keel. And then Bale would just come up with the most worldy of worldies every single week to bail us out. And he would be the one to win us the game. And the goals he was scoring that season, I don't think I've seen.
It's like bangers every week.
I don't think I've seen ever in any Premier League campaign the amount of the quality of goals from a single player in over a single season. It was absolutely astonishing, the goals he was scoring. The one that sticks out, obviously, the goal against West Ham at Upton Park in the last minute when we won 3-2. There was loads, but I mean, there's so many that stand out. There was so many incredible goals. He was finding free kicks that season as well. He was scoring so many last-minute winners. Obviously, this got him the at the time, which was a world record fee to move to Real Madrid because of how good he was. He signed for what, 85 million at the time. Incredible season from Gareth Bale. I don't remember a better individual season for me. I mean, there's a lot of candidates, but I think for me that would probably be the best one. I think I just can't look past it. Obviously, he won the Player of the Year as well. But even ended up finishing 5th, and he still won the Player of the Year that season, which is in recent times very rare for a player finishing that low to win Player of the Year. So Gareth Bale, for me, he was just phenomenal, and he found new positions. He was playing off the strike, he was playing off the right, he was doing all sorts of things, and he was just unstoppable that year. Absolutely unstoppable.
That was under Villas-Boas, right?
Yeah.
So it's like we all look back at Villas-Boas being like, well, you know, what did he actually do for Tottenham? But the way he managed Gareth Bale was actually phenomenal. It really was. Not much has been said about that, and everyone, obviously Bale gets all the plaudits, but it was actually Villas-Boas that was finding these new positions for him. 100%. Like, it's hard to look away from that Bale season. It really is. But there's just so many stand out. I mean, Kane in his last season, 30 Premier League goals? 30
Premier League goals in his last season. I don't even know if that was his best season, but that was, you know, you got to look at that. The Kane in his last season when he was carrying the team but we were awful. He had Kane under Mourinho where he got Golden Boot and Playmaker of the Year. In that same season, and then that was truly when he became that all-round creator.
That was like a low Premier League tally for Golden Boot. He got like 23 goals that season, but still got it.
But he got Golden Boot and Playmaker. The most assists as well.
And didn't get Player of the Year, by the way.
Somehow, well, that was a robbery. But under Mourinho, he unlocked that full all-round game, which he was kind of threatening to have. You had Kane when he got the Golden Boot in 2017, where he scored 7 goals in his last 2 games to snatch it off Lukaku.
Oh, mate, those 2 games, man.
Those were unbelievable, weren't they?
The Leicester and Hull, when we just absolutely blitzed them. Mate, I yearn for those days back.
I know. Those were party times.
Mate, oh, man. I miss those days so much. Prime Pochettino.
Kane that season was an absolute beast, though. Absolute beast.
He got 29 that season, and he got 30 the season after as well.
Yeah, 30. Those 2 seasons were probably, in terms of him just being a out-and-out number 9, like just a beast number 9 penalty box striker, those are his 2 best seasons for sure. That was like prime box Kane, striker Kane. Now he's different beast now. He's adapted his game. He's a kind of different kind of player. He's more of like a false 9 now. But like then he was like a proper number 9, banging in headers every game. The strikes on goal. Obviously, he still has that, but back then he was like the physicality. He would have the pace to get away from players. He would bully defenders in those seasons. He was just electric at that point. Harry Kane, what a player! What a player he was.
Well, I mean, I always think about like this, and think about that season, Berbatov's last season for Spurs. Like he didn't score that many. He scored 15 goals, right? And on face of it, it's not like unbelievable individual season. But what he actually did for us in that season was just like, sometimes you're just watching him just in awe, being like, how have you just done that? Like literally the ball's coming down from like 40 feet up at this guy and he would just control it with one touch. Like this guy had the best touch I've ever seen anyone at Tottenham. Like seriously, that season, what he would do just on his own up front, like defenders just didn't know what to do with him, how to defend against him, because that touch would just get him away and get him out of all sorts of problems. It was just, I don't remember seeing that sort of talent with the first touch before, ever. I have never seen it again.
I don't think we've seen a striker in the Premier League like him since.
No.
Like, he is such a unique player. The way his technical ability he would barely move on the pitch, and yet his first touch, his technical ability just did all the work for him. I actually think his first season at Spurs was better. I know he scored less goals, but I think he got into the Premier League team of the season that season. And I remember the amount of the shock of what he was just doing. Like, he would like barely move, yet his first touch, he would like do things and move defenders around just with his technical ability without actually having to do much himself. He was scoring scissor kicks from outside the box. I remember some of the goals he scored in the Europa League. I remember there was one against Braga where he took it on his chest and volleyed it on the run. That was one of my favourite goals I've ever seen from him. His volleying technique was astounding. And I think what I remember mostly was actually a game I don't think he even scored in, where we were down to 10 men against Bolton. And he ran the game. Somehow we were down to 10 men and he was up on his own, not even like a pacey striker, yet we would just thump the ball to him and he would just bring it down on his chest with his first touch and just hold the ball up and wait, bring players into play or flick it over defenders and get shots off. That was one of the best individual performances I've ever seen in a Tottenham shirt, I remember.
Whenever I talk about Berbatov to people, that's the game I always bring up, because that just describes Berbatov in a nutshell. And it's a game that maybe some people don't remember, 1-0 away at Bolton, not a standout game or anything, but we had 10 men and he just controlled that game, literally. When I say the players don't know how to defend against him, that is a key example of it. Like he had, they might have even played 3 at the back that day or 2, like whoever they played, they had defenders around Berbatov all the time. He was the only man that we had in their half of the pitch, and he won the ball every single time. It was nuts. Just
with his technical one first touch, and he'd like be moving players around. It was incredible, absolutely incredible. I think maybe another player we talk about is potentially Dembele in our last season at White Hart Lane. I think that season that was probably the season where he was most on the pitch, he was most fit, and that was probably the season where, especially in our home games, he was just such a big element of how we were able to dominate games so intensely, because he was a cheat code. Doesn't matter where you are on the pitch, doesn't matter what time of the game, whatever, doesn't matter how many players he's got on him, you give him the ball in any situation, he can just wriggle out of it.
Yeah.
It was mad what he was able to do.
Thing is, like big games, he used to turn up and just run the show. Like nobody could get the ball off him, drive through the heart of midfield, and he was built like a bloody ox. Like it was just like players bouncing off him everywhere he was going. That's what it was like. So yeah, 100% Dembele in that season. But what really made me fall in love with Tottenham and made me really fall in love with watching football was David Ginola in that season where he won PFA and Writers Player of the Season. We won the cup. We lost in the semi-finals of the FA Cup. That goal against Barnsley. He didn't score that many goals, but every goal he scored was an absolute banger. Players didn't know how to cope against him. We go one way, go the other way, jinking through their whole team. He was just phenomenal to watch, David Ginola. Everything that he did was just done with such style, such panache, such quality, such class. I mean, he is the guy, and that season made me really fall in love with Tottenham and with what he was doing, because like it was a team full of shit basically that year, and then you just had a shining light in David Ginola that would just take the ball from our own half and just dribble it past that whole team and either create a chance or score a banger. I mean, that season from Ginola was breathtaking, and that's why, you know, Man United win the treble and he wins PFA Player of the Year.
Yeah, says it all, doesn't it? That says it all about the kind of season he had. And I think he won Players Player of the Year. So it was players acknowledging, despite the fact that we were like lower mid-table wherever we finished, and the fact that United won a treble, the players still thought he was the best player in the whole league that season. I think that says it all. The goals he was scoring as well. I mean, I talk about Bale's goals, but Ginola scored some. Every goal was a banger. Ginola. He didn't score tap-ins. It was only bangers from Ginola, and that was just what he was like. That was just his. That was his quality. I think Sonny's Golden Boot season.
Oh yeah,
that was a special season as well. I think that was the season where he really went from being just a very good player to like a class player to like a world class elite player, that elite finisher, that player like. In on goal, doesn't, you know, you had no doubts he was going to finish it. Some of those finishes were just, he was actually that at that moment in time probably one of, in the top 5 or maybe even higher of finishes in Europe. Not even in Premier League, in the whole of Europe, he was up there. Probably him, Kane, and Messi, like those three. And that was, at that time, that's what it was like. He was that good. He was that clinical. Like, you just gave him half a yard, half a bit of space.
As well.
Yeah, but Cristiano, I actually don't think he was as good at the time as Sonny. Finishing, I'm talking about, not player. Obviously, a better player. I'm just saying, finishing-wise, I think he was probably top 3 at that moment in time. Literally, any angle, if you gave him any space, he was able to find the corner. Amount of times his finishes just find those corners from tight angles is ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. And the timing of his runs, he was an elite runner from in behind. Every time he times it to perfection, stays on side, and you always back him to slot home. His finishing on both feet, he's the most two-footed player, I think, of all time. I don't think there's a more two-footed player. I think in the Premier League history, he's one of the only players to have got a certain amount of goals with both feet, like right foot and left foot, because of how great he is. He doesn't have a weak foot. Yeah. And I think that season, it all came like to a crescendo, just like the amount of goals he scored, and obviously winning Golden Boot. What a special season that was. Yeah. That was an absolute special season.
Absolutely. A lot of people in the chat saying, obviously, Luka Modric.
What season was his better? Probably his last one.
It's got to be his last one.
When he tried to leave.
Exactly. He tried to leave the summer before to Chelsea. And we're like, no, you ain't going to Chelsea, mate. You'll stay one more year and you'll go to Real Madrid for a lesser fee. But that season was just like, wow. Like, how is this? How are we ever going to cope with Luka Modric leaving this football club? Because, again, I actually think that season from Modric might have been better than that season from Dembele.
Yeah, probably. Because it's Luka Modric. And he still is a complete unicorn, Modric. How is someone of like his size just so strong? He was actually not only one of the most technically gifted, but one of the strongest midfielders. He had thighs like this big. It was absolutely crazy. He would have an incredible long shot. I remember, I think Wenger said before we signed him that he looked at him and thought he was going to be too small and too weak for the Premier League. And how wrong was he? And his poor decision making was to our benefit.
Got Arsene Wenger. You know, Arsene Wenger said Harry Kane was too fat for Arsenal as well. So a few things he got wrong. Yeah,
but Luka Modric, I remember Harry Redknapp when he first came. He started him out wide. But anyway, that season when he nearly left, I remember the goals he was scoring. I remember he scored at home to Liverpool, away at Bolton, some absolute crackers. And he was just running midfields. Just with the outside of his boot, he would run midfields. Yeah. He loved that pass, the outside of his boot. And he was phenomenal that season. Phenomenal. He dragged us to the fourth place, really.
Yeah. What do you reckon Ledley King's best season was at Spurs?
Probably. His best season was probably... maybe the one where we got Champions League.
But even that season, did he even play that much that season?
I think he did. That season he played probably maybe like 20 games, which is a lot for King.
Yeah.
Either that or maybe the one where we got pipped on the last day by Arsenal with food poisoning. That might have been his best season. That season. Yeah, that might have been his best season.
Under Martin Jol. So, look, so many. I mean, we could sit here all day talking about individual performances for Spurs, but definitely Gareth Bale probably takes the trophy on this one. So let us know in the comment section below, have we forgotten anyone? Let us know who you think was the best individual player or best player that had an individual season at Spurs.
Well, we didn't even think maybe Dele Alli in 2017 when he got 18 goals and like 10 assists or something.
Yeah.
That season, that is up there. That is right up there. One of the best.
Christian Eriksen. Like, Christian Eriksen had some phenomenal seasons individually. Phenomenal.
He did. I don't know if he actually ever had a season as good as that Ali season. Dele, that
season. With Eriksen, right? With Eriksen, a lot of times, like, you didn't notice how good he was until he was out the team.
I know, it's true.
And then when he's out the team, you're thinking, like, we're desperate for Eriksen here. Like, he used to do so much running. He used to be the whole creative hub of the team. His numbers were just insane. Like, the way Christian Eriksen, the way it ended at Spurs, it was a bit sour. So I don't think people give him the respect that he actually deserved when he was at Spurs. Because when he was at Spurs, he was a much more important player for us than Dele Alli, in my opinion.
Yeah, he made Dele look better, to be fair. But that season from Dele was special. 18 goals. I think it was like 10 assists as well. He was just lethal. And the little special things, the special kind of goals he was scoring as well. What a player what a season that was. And it was such a shame he never really built on that. But that was one of the best seasons we've ever seen in a Tottenham shirt, I think. Yeah, you're probably right about that. But again, let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. As we move on, I'm going to bring you something